Good day. My name is Daryl, and as promised, I'm creating this video in conjunction with the comprehensive written report that shall be sent to you towards the end of the month. Now, my goal for sending this video is to explain all the concepts and recommendations in the report in layman's term, and that's for better understanding and much easier appreciation. Now, since the goal is to ascertain or determine the most suitable business structure for our purposes, I believe that it's best to start with a holistic understanding and appreciation of the industry that we're trying to penetrate. With this, let me give you a brief background of the multi-unit apartment and townhouse construction industry. So, the industry is composed of businesses that are engaged in the construction of multi-unit dwelling structures such as apartments, condominiums, flats, and of course townhouses. Now, this is a broad industry since it also includes those businesses that are engaged in repairs, additions, renovations, alterations, and expansions. And in 2016 to 2017 alone, this industry provided or contributed about $19.3 billion to the economy. So the 14,780 firms in this industry provided employment to about 24,700 workers. It's worth noting, though, that about 21.6% of the total output came from the top five firms in this industry. According to experts, this industry is still at its growth phase as the demand for townhouses and apartments is still growing. Now, the contribution to the economy of this particular industry is expected to grow or increase by 4.9% every year, and this is for the next 5 years. Because of this, number of participants or businesses engaged in these activities is also expected to increase by 2.1% every year, and that's for the same time frame, the next 5 years. Now, you may be asking where the demand is coming from. The demand is dictated primarily by young professionals and empty nesters who prefer the conveniences of in city living. On top of that, this particular industry is also attracting foreign investors. Now, let me go to the most prevalent business structure in this industry. Almost 75% of businesses are either sole proprietorships or partnerships, and about 62.9% of businesses have gross revenue of less than 200,000, and only a small 10% earn more than 10 million per year. According to experts, capitalization is classified as low for this industry, as most of the firms are small to medium contractors and subcontractors. Some of the most important things that should be taken into consideration before actually starting are the registration and licensing requirements that you guys would need to comply with in order for you to start and contract in this industry. Now, firms are required to affiliate themselves or register with industry organizations, and this is to check whether companies or firms have the necessary skills and qualifications. Also, on top of this, firms are also um, incurring additional costs because they are required to comply with a certain number of standards, like the national and state building codes, regulations on zoning. There's also land use, pollution, and of course, occupational health and safety. So, in choosing the most suitable business structure for your business purposes or for what you guys have in mind, we are going to focus on two options. Number one would be proprietary company limited by shares, and number two, a partnership. Now, for your business purposes, a sole proprietorship and a joint venture might not be relevant. Same with a public company, so we will not be discussing them in this video. Probably two of the most important aspects of this comparison are the concept of a separate legal entity and the extent of personal liability. Starting with the separate legal entity concept, companies, as you may already know, are considered as a separate legal entity, or in layman's term, they can act as a natural person, meaning they can enter into contracts, borrow money, sue, and be sued. Partnerships, on the other hand, uh, are not a separate legal entity. So whatever the partnership does, can be traced back to the owners or to the partners themselves. So, what this means is if a corporation, let's say, ran out of funds to pay its creditors, the owners or the members of the corporation are protected by the what is so called as a corporate veil from the creditors. So the creditors won't be able to go after the personal assets in order to satisfy the obligation. Whereas in a partnership, there is unlimited personal liability. So the creditors can go after the partner's own personal assets, like a house or like cars and other personal properties. Probably the best case to illustrate the concept of separate legal entity is Salomon versus Salomon. So Salomon is an individual that operates or that owns a boot-making business, which he organized as a sole proprietorship. What he did is he started this business or this company called Salomon Limited, which he incorporated through the help or with his family members, with the wife and his kids. So Salomon Limited bought the boot making business, and the payment to Salomon the person was in the form of shares to the company. So to cut the long story short, Salomon Limited did not succeed in its business operations, and Salomon the person got preferential treatment in the payment of the company's creditors. So, what the creditors are saying is that Salomon Limited, the company, is basically an extension or an agent of Salomon the person, and that the payment to Salomon the person should be given back and redistributed to all the creditors. The final ruling of the court was that Salomon Limited is a separate legal entity from Salomon the person. The next concepts are perpetuity and transferability of ownership. So let's start with perpetuity. Assuming you guys have organized your business as a company, it is assumed that it will exist indefinitely unless it is ended by winding up or by the regulation. Unlike a company, a partnership can actually be dissolved, or it can actually get dissolved by one of the following. So if it's a fixed term partnership, when the expiration has already elapsed, if it's a joint venture, when the joint venture project has already been completed, if there's mutual arrangement between and amongst the partners, and if there's been retirement, death, or bankruptcy in the partnership, or any other changes that affects the um, membership. So we will now relate it to transferability of ownership in a company. When, let's say, one of the shareholder decides to stop being part of the company by selling the shares to another person, the transfer of ownership can be processed quite easily. But in a partnership, if one of the partners decides to pull out of the partnership, the existing partnership has to be dissolved. And what can happen is after the dissolution of the existing partnership, the remaining partners can now start with a new partnership, and they can start on their own or by accepting new members. To sum it all up, it is very important to determine the extent of liability. As in your case, your proposed business involves purchase of land and construction of multi-unit apartments, condos, or townhouses. This means this business requires huge capitalization, and although there is a potential for a huge upside, it can be financially catastrophic if something goes wrong. So, after careful evaluation of the pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages of relevant business structures, I am glad to recommend organizing the business as a proprietary company limited by shares. And um, if you have questions about the recommendation and about the written comprehensive report that comes with this video, please give us a call and we'll be happy to discuss everything with you. And again, My name is Daryl, and thank you. Have a great day.